He's doing a comparison Delta Force, Hawk Ops versus Arena Breakout Infinite. Now, if you don't know, these are basically two new extraction shooters coming out. We watched some stuff yesterday on it, and Delta Force. Well, they changed the name from Delta Force. So it was called Delta Force Hawk Ops, but they just changed the name a couple days ago to just Delta Force, thankfully. But Delta Force and Infinite Breakout has basically been going at head to head in the extraction shooter, but Delta Force just did Conquest, Battlefield Conquest as a game mode, which is what I've been saying is the Battlefield killer. And Infinite Breakout has been charging people for money, for in-game money.
Have been spoiled with game releases these past couple of weeks. We have been spoiled with game
We
releases
haven't,
these past
to be
couple
honest,
of weeks.
we haven't.
You've seen me make videos individually on Arena Breakout Infinite as well as Delta Force Hawk Ops now. Let's put them together and compare.
Oh, crap. I mean, this
We pinnacle of all, as you've heard me talk about of them. And
so, Delta Force and Arena Breakout. What was that about the staff? Completely forgot.
well as Delta Force Hawk Ops now. Let's put them together and compare each of them and see which one's really the Tarkov
I
killer.
completely forgot.
Extraction shooters in general have been a giant growing genre, as you've heard me talk about in these videos. The entire premise of this is to really try and take down Tarkov, the pinnacle of all of these. The premise of the games, you're going into a map, into these hot zones against AI, completing missions, tasks,
I used to love watching
picking up
them
some of the
play
most
Tarkov.
insane, valuable loot, and then trying to exfil with it, while also not getting creamed by other players that are doing the same thing that can kill you and even take you for everything that you even brought into the raid.
I personally don't like extraction shooters because I hate losing progress.
First place. Finally, though, Tarkov is not alone here. We've seen more games trying to do this over really quite a number of years now.
Battlefield, yeah,
even with Hazard Zone's Battlefield's attempt that was just very lackluster in what it was actually offering. Good for maybe a raid to play, but not really a lot of replayability. Nope. DMZ, Call of Duty's version of this, that honestly turned out to be quite good. Started very bare bones in the beta, made a lot of improvements. I played through all of it and was making good updates before ultimately
I stopped in the beta, so I don't know. I can't say much after that.
Making it more pay to win with elements you couldn't even earn in the game, and then just completely unsupporting it. So Tarkov's seen a little bit more competition, but really nothing absolutely major. And the best thing those other games had going for it was that it was also on console and building a massive audience over there that hasn't been able to experience Tarkov at all. There's been other ones like Vigor and even some mobile games and
like
some VR versions of these, but nothing that's really gone all out to the extent of what we're seeing from these two games. But with Delta and Arena now thrown into the mix, how do they stack up side by side? And before we get into it too much, I will say there is preference to this. Each does have its pros and cons, and there's some subjectivity to what type of player you are and what you are going to enjoy. Even like playing The Cycle, which has now been shut down, but even more recently, Level 0 Extraction, which also came out, more alien themed. Or Hunt Showdown, which has been around for a while and has its very own unique style to it.
Okay.
Everything's going to have its own preferences to a degree, but I would say these are much closer to just being what Tarkov is, and you see it just by playing it and looking at the UI. I hear him in the bushes up ahead here. Caught him.
Nice, well played.
First off, both of these games are free to play. Quite a differentiation between Tarkov's $70 or so minimum.
Oh, yeah.
Most people are spending $150 for the increased stash base, or even now $240, $250 for the game, for the PvE side of it and the whole shebang. So being free is quite appealing. And while both these games are free to play, that also comes with its own unique drawbacks, right? This reduces the entire barrier of entry to the game.
Yeah, it does.
Which means that there's also the potential for more cheaters in the game. You go in on your fully kitted, maxed out loadout, and you get one tapped through a bush, headshot, and you're instantly out of the game and lost everything you bring in. That person maybe gets banned, but then immediately creates another new account and does the same exact thing. There's going to be big issues there. We've already seen this with all of these free-to-play battle royales that happen.
I mean, this game looks pretty good, though.
Additional barriers in-game, like even to play ranked, you need to already get to level 30 and have 10, 15 hours in the game, putting additional hurdles before you can get involved into it. Even in Tarkov, a game that costs, minimum $70, whatever, you still have to buy it and then play to a certain level to even put those items onto the auction house and make money. that people then use for real money trading, which is another concern we'll talk about later, but it'll be interesting to see what hurdles these guys put in place to help with their own problems. Now, as for the anti-cheat, both of these games are using Ace anti-cheat, which is a kernel-level anti-cheat similar to what Vanguard is for Valorant's anti-cheat, which does have a reputation of being like the best in the business and the best way to do it, although there are still cheaters there too. It's at least curbing more of it. We watched a couple of videos even on AI anti-cheat, and I haven't seen any of that mentioned at least. Maybe this is something that they're still doing in the background for some of the games and just not trying to expose some of their secrets for it. But nonetheless, I'm not seeing anything additionally groundbreaking here, so I imagine it'll still be a thing. But if there's significant player count on any of these games, it will lead to people creating those softwares to try and make money off of that as well. Even more competition for the cheaters to do. But on the good side, at least more competition for all of these games being out and for them to develop the best system with the safest markets for their community. They need to make the best game to compete with the other guys.
I guess if they're selling stuff on Michael for a little money, they're doing it for monetization. But either way, I think it's pretty stupid.
As if they're going to be pushing to make theirs better, right? Makes it better for us as players. But let's get into some of the differentiating points. Delta Force Hawk Ops in particular is the game that's in early alpha. We're just seeing this for the first time after playing for about 20 hours myself. Man, I had a great first impression, and it grew on me. Similar to what Arena Breakout was in its early access. And it's been gaining notoriety for it, hitting over 1 million wish lists. Which is also comparable number to what Arena has been posting out. They did a tweet saying that there was 1 million players on their game, or at least interested people. Gameplay-wise, though, Delta Force is much closer to your Battlefields and Call of Duty's casual playstyle, right? You have hit markers, kill indicators. If you get killed, you can be rezzed from a knock, and if you get fully killed, you can still be rezzed one time per raid. So if your team can wipe out the rest of the players, if maybe one dude who's sitting in a corner and ambushed you, not that big of a deal. You can get picked back up, still have all your gear, and make it out with everything that you found in the raid. Delta Force, I would say, is much more approachable of a game to this.
That's what I was going at earlier. So Delta Force sounds like a game that would be more fit for my kind of playstyle. Like I said, I don't like losing stuff. I don't like losing progress at all, which is why I don't play certain games like Gray Zone Warfare. I liked it, but man, I do not like losing progress. Also, it's like super buggy too at the moment. I wish it would fix that so I could play it again, because I'm not playing a buggy mess.
Genre and
glitchy mess,
to the intensity really of what something like Tarkov tries to capture, and the learning curve is still steep, but definitely not as bad and more forgiving. Even the way like healing works in the game in general, you just have one base health bar that you're healing with less total different medical items versus limbs getting blacked out, having to heal individual limbs, splint that limb, heal your arm, leg.
Dude, that's so
all
annoying.
The individual pieces. Everything's just simpler. Even like for ammunition and magazines, you don't have.
I know some people like it, but I think it's really
just annoying. Get the ammunition. If you put the 45 round attachment on the gun, all of your magazines will be that size. They're also going for a broader total game, not only having this extraction style of game, but also having an entire battlefield game within it with humongous maps. You capture one zone, it takes you to the next part of the battlefield, and you keep traversing the map while there's also tanks, there's also helicopters. In fact, a lot of people in my video when I was talking about the extraction side to Delta Force were saying that the main part of the game is the multiplayer, not the extraction. So a lot of people are just going to be focused on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be on too.
On top of that, I'll probably go check out Extraction. That is Black Hawk Down, a whole recreation and their own story on that, which I am a bit concerned they're going to spread themselves too thin too early on, especially for all the promises.
That is a lot of stuff. Yeah, campaign, 2 main multiplayer modes. One's Extraction, the other one's massive multiplayer. But hey, if this game's good, I have content for the rest of for the whole year next year. I just do random stuff. For me personally, I love FPS games. Any FPS game, I'll try it out. I'll play it. Extraction shooters, not too big a fan of those, but I will play them every now and then. I played Tarkov when it came close to launch. I played Gray Zone Warfare, which is another Extraction. I played Arena Breakout on mobile when it first came out. I didn't sit. None of these sit for me, but I don't like Extractions really. I did Hazard Zone for a little bit. I'm more battle royale person, honestly.
That they're having in this, including being cross-play, cross-progression on consoles, on last-gen consoles. Like, This game's coming out this year. That's why one of my other concerns for it is what the end game of this is actually going to look like. We've only seen the alpha, some of the beginning stuff, which is very impressively done and the least amount of bugs that I've had. But how deep does this actually go, and how much content is there actually ready across the 7 different maps that they have?
Yeah,
and
too.
The team is going to be under pressure to continue to update this and release content. How well are they going to be able to support that? I will say they have been quite communicative across their social platforms, even on their Discord. And this was the first piece of big news that we got.
I'll go with a squad, and we will play this game.
They posted out on Reddit after Arena Breakout came out.
Takes
and
away barrier entry for me and the squad to
that they are going to essentially be pay to win. We'll get into some of that. Someone was asking, are they going to be introducing paying for in-game currency in their game? Pesley even reposted it on Twitter. This thing went viral. Essentially, one of the players asking, will you be having paid in-game currency in your game? Arena Breakout Infinite said that they would not, and the game has now released out of its beta into its full release, which is still in early access, but they're not wiping. It's like, it's out. You could buy the game, right? And there's pay to win on it. We got to see the monetization. Yeah. There it is. And he said, top line, I can promise you that this will absolutely not happen. The primary content that we offer.
Now, the problem with this is Arena Breakout said they wasn't going to do it, and they still did it.
Offer players to purchase includes weapon skins, character cosmetics, and battle passes. So this is going to be things that obviously aren't going to affect the actual way the game plays.
I'll try to Arena Breakout too. I'll stream it too.
More specifically, like the Battlefield multiplayer mode, 0 things that you can buy that's going to affect the way that the game plays. And even in the extraction mode, the alloy or like that currency that you use to buy things off the auction house and everything, you will not be able to pay to buy. They mentioned the highest level safe box that essentially if you die, you still get to keep whatever's in there, will be available for free by completing missions and hazard ops modes.
That's not that big of a deal.
Imagine that they will have a way to pay for that. I think that
you can't
is
get mad
less
at them
egregious,
for that.
although they don't specifically mention it here. I wouldn't be surprised if they have it, because it's not necessarily going to affect the way that the game plays in there, although still a pay-to-win element for sure. The way all this is worded,
it's not every other game does it. You can't get mad at them for that.
It does
every other
really
game
seem
does
like
it.
they are trying to make it proper, trying to make it without having pay to win. And this seems like it's going to be a bigger differentiating point for the future of the game, of what is already looking very promising. As for Arena Breakout Infinite, though, I had so much good to say in my initial videos and playing of this game, man. The ease of entry here as well is just amazing, especially compared to playing Tarkov. The fact that you even have a map, you can see where your teammates are, you can exfil. While looting isn't quite as straightforward as Delta, where you can just mouse over and see the value, you got to double click it and pop a window up. It's still a lot easier. Even just the fact that there's a tutorial that like guides you through and teaches you how to play the game and how like the menus actually work. Man, I think they knocked it out of the park, making what I kind of see as like a Tarkov 2.0. It still has a ton of the actual complexity, having that magazine that you got to repack the ammo for, having the slot available in your tac rig if you want to go for a reload, so it doesn't just drop it on the ground. All your stuff you can just drop on the ground. Even if you just do a fast reload and knock that thing down, got to go shuffle around, find the magazine, where to go, while having so many quality of life features that, like, if you're just a dad gamer, you're going to appreciate being able to know some of these things, or what the ammo tier is, without having to go look up a spreadsheet or how to build a gun. Visually, the game is super impressive, too. The graphics, the audio is very solid. And so far, it's been running smooth on the machine. I will say I have had more stutters, especially in some of the hot areas on this map versus even on Delta in its alpha state. I thought this might have just been some of the early stages of the game. It still is in early access, but I have had some stuttering in it.
Is early access open up? Let's go look at that. I actually have no idea. Because if it's out, we will play it tomorrow. But if it's not, we're not. This is just coming soon. Yeah, it's not even out yet. I have my wish list. Whenever it comes out, I'll know. But yeah, it's still coming soon. Maybe that's on Steam. Hold on, let me see if there's a website. Because it might be on the website. Oh, that's on the website. Okay, so we can actually play from the website. So I think this is what we might do tomorrow. Let's see. Yeah, I can have it downloaded. Yeah, we'll play tomorrow.
be that I just need to turn all of my settings down, but I'm running on the highest end,
I'll get some of my friends. We'll
system
do
you can have.
team.
The maps are also quite large, and the PvE, you don't have to worry extremely about all of the AI. They'll chip away at your armor and everything, but they're not a giant nuisance versus the PvP, which is where the action happens. This is the absolute brutality of this game. You die here, you are dead. There is no coming back. Here he is. Dude, you gotta be kidding me! How do people not die? I do really appreciate that they have a spectate feature in this game, though. Absolutely love it. But you die here, there's a lot more pressure on trying to stay alive and make a good decision and creep and crawl if you really need to. Because getting killed out means that your team is going to have to haul all your stuff out that you actually want saved, taking up their inventory for other loot that they could be carrying. And of course, you sitting, waiting, not being able to play for it. It's a much more brutal game. No hit markers, no HUD in the game. It's more immersive in that element. But of course, these developers have decided to go back on what they were saying and add in-game currency that you can buy for real money. There was a lot of feedback too in beta and behind closed doors, them bringing on creators, trying to get feedback and see what ultimately it didn't really matter at the end. Even Big Fry did a video on this. He's been involved with this game much
he's been a big part.
And even explained in a video where the dev was sitting watching, and after saying that he thought there was plenty of other ways to monetize besides making it real cash for in-game cash, the dev even sits and agrees and understands the concerns and says that money shouldn't affect the fairness of the raids, but here we are!
Why do we need to be able to buy in-game currency in a game where the economy means everything?
也能够理解它和城市当中很多人对于商业化模式的一个担忧。我们的原则是，付费不会影响对局的公平性。
Going through and playing some of the game in its early access now full release.
They say that, but they still charge you money for the game, which is absolutely insane, by the way.
I got to see what some of it was like and then get hit to the point where
I'm gonna test it out.
Could see the store.
I'm gonna test it out tomorrow.
Buy
and put my information on it. We'll test it out.
Spend about $20 to $30 a month, depending on how much you want, for their safe stash, their key ring, and things that you would definitely want, and improves the quality of life of playing the game and makes it easier. But then on top of that, you can spend in limited quantities, I'll say. You can't just spend unlimited money on the game to get unlimited cash. It's on a weekly cooldown, but you can get a significant amount of money every single week. If you want to spend all out on this game, and
it says it's on. It looks like it's a discount right now, but I think it's still 1-to-1, right? So this is probably gonna be $2.50, $1.50, $4.50, $25. You can spend more than $25 in the $9 than anything else.
And just like go all out, you could get, I mean, just off of these, that's 20, probably with all of these too, that's probably like 30 mil a week that you could get. Maybe 10 to 20 to 30 mil a week.
How much does that cost though?
This would be the big spender if you do 150 a week.
Oh, I just realized this is spending the currency, not real world money. So this is after you spend real world money, and now you spend the currency to go buy money.
On these two, that gets you basically your 20 mil. That's a lot. That's definitely a commitment, right?
This is that's $100 for the advance. In total, you won't get all 5 a week. $100. This is gonna be, well, it's after the discount too. Those two before discount. Before discount, that's $125 you spend on that a week. This is gonna be $90 you spend on this a week. That is over $215. This is $219.50. $200 and 19, 21. I'll do this in my head so it goes faster. 27, 29. You spend about $230-ish a week. Well, these are also daily limits. These are weekly. Ooh, I didn't see that. That's the season limit. Ah, okay. I guess that's probably more money. I'm guessing there's gonna be more in here than is in this. Maybe.
Right there.
Oh, there's
if you're
also
looking to
monthly
spend
too.
$100 a week on a game, more likely you'll probably want to spend $5-10 to get some of the weekly and daily rewards that are really big value at discounts. And I've seen a lot of people say that this game isn't pay to.
If you spend $5 a day, every day, that's 5 times 7 is 40. Make sure I'm not messing that up. $35. $35 times 4. That is 100. I cannot do math today. $140. So $140. You can that's how much you're spending a month
to win. But the thing is, you can buy the best gear in the game off of that real cash and then go into the raid.
That's
the counterpoint, of course, being, well, you could also just be better than them. They might suck at the game. You can shoot them in the head, take all the gear that they have, and now you've got all the pay-to-win players.
Or
gear,
you spend $140 a game and be the best player in the game.
Other pay-to-win games and their structures where this person is just unkillable because
that's
they
also
have
true.
Spent more money, and you don't ever get the chance to take any of their things. I'll also mention that a big problem in all of these games, of what I alluded to earlier, is real money trading or real money transactions. Especially in a free-to-play game, this is likely going to be a problem in Delta Force as well, where people will go in on free accounts, farm up the early quests.
You can never fix it.
Whatever it is,
you
maybe
can try
even
and mitigate it,
to
but you can
kill
never
players
fix it.
that have good gear, exfil it, sell it, and then go put this on another account and then try to sell this for real cash on a third-party website. This is in Tarkov's game, and this game already has a price barrier to entry as well. People still go in, cheat, do this, make money, and then real money trade or...
Yeah, make your $70 back somehow. Or I could also set it to $240 as well.
Essentially create their own black market of in-game currency for it. This is what has inevitably had to happen in games, even like World of Warcraft, even in like old school RuneScape. You can just pay for currency now in the game. Like, this seems like it's just an inevitability in every game because of what players are deciding to do anyways. Not that I think it's good or should be done, but like, this is the reality of what's actually happening here. I think the bigger thing is that it just sucks that this is happening immediately, and more so that the expectations were set one way and now we're getting a different reality. Also with Arena Breakout Infinite, they decided not to release their game on Steam. I had 20 minutes of sitting there. How the hell are people playing
this? All right, so yeah, that was
because
I was like, what? I heard people playing the game
before and still is on Steam, but there was no release date there. Whatever. If you want to play the game, you got to go to their website. So they're avoiding all of the review bombs that could potentially be happening right now, while also
I think that's
getting 100% of the revenue from people that are spending money on their game rather than taking the Steam cut of the 20% or so that they take for doing transactions through their store. It also does limit the overall total number of players that will even get into the game and be willing to go to another website and download their game and deal with all the anti-cheat and whatever.
I thought people was getting beta codes or
that's associated with it. So I think the total player count will be lower, but they're trying to make more money out of it in the first place. And I think when you're comparing this as well to what Tarkov's money structure is, if you're going to spend $240 in that game, my guess is from a business standpoint, they're like, well, we can make this far more accessible. And all of these players who have already played all the Tarkov content over all of these years will probably want to come over and play this new experience and be willing to spend a little bit here, get them into the system. Then they'll really start every month they're trying to bring in the whales, right? At least that's how I see all of this. In how it's been playing out and what has been now revealed to us with this early access launch. And even if you decide to play and be a free-to-play user, you are still going to be contributing to what all of these games that have whales try to do, which is get a ton of user base. Even if you've ever seen these ads like on Instagram or whatever, where there's like a little barrel rolling down and they're shooting the thing, and then you swipe up to go see what the game actually is, or a mafia boss, whatever, you click through, and then it's like, this isn't even the game of whatever it is. But they get tons of people to download the game, and they get in and realize this is just a giant pay-to-win base building game. What's even happening here? But it's now got 300 million players, so the mega whales are like, all right, I'm going to be the coolest of the 300 million people. Like, you being the free-to-play player is contributing to that in the first place. Do with that what you will, but if they end up making money from this and getting people to pay and buy, they're going to most assuredly continue to do this. And at least in the short term, it is an easier entry point than somebody who's trying to get into Tarkov and needs to spend all that money up front and then also has to learn all of these different things. Like
the thing is with this is I don't know how well they will do in the long run of just making people spend for that sort of stuff. Because at some point, people are gonna be like, "Stop taking my money." But you never know. You never know. It could be lasting forever. All I know. I don't know. They could close in the game 3 months in. Who knows?
Like they are making a far more accessible game that can then also capture a ton of money off of it. And I don't think a lot of people even are realizing what's going on with it, especially if you're just a casual player, sees the new game, gets it, starts hopping in, you know, you're just here for a couple hours to play, especially because they have developed quite a good game that is more accessible, to my point earlier. So a lot of people have been asking, what am I going to play? Do I like it?
Yeah, the game's
what am I
good,
going to keep up with? Personally, even after seeing what Arena Breakout has
really
executed on for their economy and what's going to be the long term, like if you really want to commit a lot of time to this game, which is it's one of these commitment type of games in the first place, I don't think this is a great way to start that. As cool as the game is,
I'm just going to try out tomorrow. That's all I'm going to do.
Perspective, just playing both of these games side by side, for me, I lean more on the DMZ side of things and having the accessibility, having the hit markers and everything.
The accessibility is nice.
I've enjoyed a lot of this over
as well.
You know, the last couple of decades, focusing more on actually getting into fights, spending less time looting, less time in menus, actually being able to be revived. Like these things to me make it more enjoyable of an experience that I'm hoping they have enough content to sustain into the future and don't screw everything else up for. Had I not seen and even played this game, I think I probably would be playing Arena Breakout, at least more likely.
Delta Place looks awesome.
Given everything else they've done. But since I know I have Delta now, I'm really not even interested in playing Arena Breakout anymore. Unless people tell me it turns out to be like the most amazing experience, or I run out of all of the other games to play, but there's so much to do play right now, at least I have on my list, that I'm not going to be playing Arena Breakout. I think a lot of people will be too turned away from Delta with some of the accessibility and features that they have and want that Tarkov experience. If, like I said, you're really a big Tarkov player, you've already played through the wipes and the content, and you'd like want something new to play, this is probably going to be right up your alley, and I think a lot of those guys are going to enjoy this. But I can't do it. So, I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Was this a good summary video of the situation as well? If there's anything I missed to, let me know in the comments and what you are going to be playing, if any of them. I'm trying to get more of my thoughts together in specific videos for you.
I'll be right back. I really got to use the bathroom. We'll take a break with us.